Let's go, yeah, oh, let's go. All right, we back like cooked Krenak. You schmigga deal me. Let's do this. Let's move that right there. Let's put this water here. Probably go get this motherfucker washed too. You dig? Hey yo, let's go. Hey yo, let's go. What up? I'm back. Can y'all hear me now? I don't know. Something was tweaking. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. I am back. I'm back. Yeah, man. Back, man. Hey, man. Real East Side legend. Real East Side legend. Real East Side legend. Ooh. Real East Side legend. Dropping them locations. All them ops online that like talking shit. What's going on? I see Chicago very own in the building. What up? What's going on? Yeah, man. He said flip side. Hey. Be a lot of cats talking shit online. They really ain't out here, boy. They don't know what out here is like, for real. They just talk. We just gonna let them talk, man. We ain't gonna even indulge in the coonery. We just let niggas be coons. You good now? Yeah, man. If you can hear me, just pay $1,200 for some maintenance. So look, check it out. A lot of these things, like one thing that I learned from being in business, I wasted a lot of money on shit that I could have fixed myself. One, from not asking people who are mechanically inclined on certain things, telling them certain things that may be going on with my commercial fleet, right? I remember one time I had a crew, it was doing a job. I don't remember if it was a moving crew or a delivery crew. And after they, finished whatever the job and they got back in the truck didn't start. I ended up calling a tow truck, and the tow truck ended towing the truck back to the yard, right? So obviously I had to pay for the tow. No, it didn't tow it to the yard. It towed them to the truck repair place, my truck repair place that I sent my trucks to. Spent the money on the tow, got all the way to the truck repair place. The whole time wasn't nothing wrong with the truck. It was just the ground was loose for the battery. The ground was loose, right? So all the money for the tow, obviously my mechanic didn't charge me because we were doing business with him on a regular basis with the amount of trucks that I had at that time. So he didn't, burden me with charging me for whatever the minimum, whatever it was at that time inspection cost would be. But it was literally just the ground wire was loose, right? It just needed to be tightened up. It got loose over a period of time. That one situation taught me to, when things went wrong, always ask around and educate myself on being mechanically inclined on small, simple things, checking certain little things. Now, somebody like, well, when you do the pre-check, you know what I'm saying? That's not something that Stack, who was my fleet manager at the time, would do in the morning. He wasn't checking the ground cables. He was checking like the normal shit, the lights, the turn signals, the brake lights, all the normal shit. So at some point, maybe during that day, that ground cable came loose, and that was a lot of money that was wasted. So this morning, I had been noticing some things with my own truck, right? And this is good for your own personal vehicles too. And every time I go to the dealer, no matter what vehicle I'm taking to the dealer, nowadays it's always $1,000. It seems like the magic number for me is 1,400. Whenever I go to get something, looked at, a small repair, it seems like the magic number is 1,400 and some change. 1,432, 14 this, 14 that, 14 this. So I had an appointment to go to the dealership for my pickup. I think because I don't drive it that much and it sits a lot, I thought it was just a battery. But the last time I drove it a few weeks ago, I noticed that my mirrors, when I was driving, my mirrors just automatically just started folding in on their own on the expressway, and I was tripping. So obviously I assumed electrical, right? But I assumed the worst. I'm thinking maybe an amp or something like that. But, I was actually going to take it to the dealer, and my homeboy said, nah, man, that's the ground. I said, man, nah, that ain't the ground. That's some electrical shit. That's the amp. He said, man, it's the ground. The ground is electrical. He said, man, turn the right wheel, the passenger wheel, turn it, and it's a ground wire under there. He said it's going to be filled with like a lot of grit. Get some brake cleaner and a wire brush, scrub it, and that should fix the issue. And sure enough, it did fix the issue. I did it myself this morning, because I actually had this similar issue maybe like 2020, 2019, 2020, right before the pandemic, and they told me wasn't nothing wrong with it, right? They told me wasn't nothing wrong with it. So sometimes you'll get that at these dealerships and at some of these truck repair places too. You'll have like a minor little issue, and either they can't figure it out, or it's so minor that you could have did it yourself, and they'll charge you an arm and a leg for it. And shit, it might have been minor to the point where it was so minor they tell you it was something else than what it actually really was, so that they can charge you more money. So it's imperative that when you start your box truck business, that you do kind of give yourself some type of education on small little fixes. Small little fixes, man. They could save you money in the long run. What's going on? Look, I pulled up to the old yard. I know Ron in here. He probably gonna bitch and fuss at me, but I'm finna walk through my old warehouse yard. Let's see what's going on. Make sure I got my pistol, just in case. He ain't got no dog running around here. But for those that remember, Ron was the old truck driver that lives on the yard in his truck. So if you remember my montage video, oh, hold on, make sure y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Give me the thumbs up if you can hear me. Give me the thumbs up if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, boom. So if you remember the montage video, you go to old warehouse. Obviously, the new owners are not taking care of it. I hate to walk through here, man, because it's probably cicadas like a motherfucker through here. But if y'all remember from the montage video, there's one dock door. Obviously, there's the front. Here's the gate right here where all the trucks that I showed you was parked along this wall. Here is the garage door where we was backing the trucks in. Remember the office trailer? It was parked right here at first, and then we moved it over here to block that off. We would have Some semi trucks would come through the front gate, but most would come through the back gate. If you remember the video when I showed you how my trucks was parked, and the where the office trailer was at. But yeah, this is where it all started. This place right here, when I got to this place, the first year I got here was my first $1 million year, right? I will walk through this shit, man. I pray it ain't no fucking cicadas. It probably ain't though. Let's see. We're gonna get out. Guess who owns it now, Pippi? A church. So when they got it, I was here for a little bit longer after they got it, and then I left. They thought that they were going to be able to build a mega church here, which we told them that they weren't, but they swore that they were. We said, you're not going to be able to dig because it's Stony Island. But they thought that they were, and here we are 6 years later. They can't. Now, I'm going to walk up here. I think you could probably still see old remnants. If you remember the montage video, there's probably still a lot of shit in here that we left. I'm digging through this shit. But yeah, so if you look here, you see all my, I don't want to drop the phone. All the styrofoam we left, pallets, all the boxes from all the deliveries. Yep. So, God damn it. Yeah, so the church who bought it, they don't keep up with it. They did reach back out to me at one point, maybe it was at 2020. Now that they realized that the alderman is not gonna let them build, and the reason is Stony Island, you can't dig back here. They just kind of abandoned it. I don't think they have to pay taxes. They ended up buying the place cash. When I was renting it from the landlord, he ended up letting it go, and then the bank became my landlord. Obviously, the bank tried to get me to buy it, but the taxes here are very, very expensive, about $60,000, $70,000 a year. And the reason why is because look at all the land. Goes all the way out to the main street. Behind all those bushes back there is a railroad. Those two trucks belong to the guy who owned it before the guy who I was renting it from owned it. He's a trucker. He lives on this truck because he has nowhere to go. Me and him have an issue, beef. I let him live here rent-free when I was renting the place. I wasn't tripping. He wasn't gonna go nowhere anyway. You see he ain't went nowhere now. And he don't even own the place. He just squatting on the land. So something that you gotta deal with. All the way back there, it goes back a few blocks. So it's about 7 acres of land. That's why the taxes are very expensive. And that's why in the past, maybe 40 something years, the place has only had 2 owners. Because when Ron owned it, he bought it in '92 for $250,000, and then he lost it. Then my landlord, John, bought it. He bought it for $1 million, which gave Ron a lifeline because he was behind on his taxes. And John, because he was a contractor and a developer, he thought he was going to be able to develop a community back here, and he wasn't able to get it rezoned. So he stopped paying the $60,000 a year in taxes, and he let it go. Looked like somebody flying a drone up in the air. No, ain't no drone. So he let it go. So then the bank took over, and they became my landlord. Obviously, I wasn't stupid enough to buy the place, right? Because I knew what the taxes were, and my previous landlord told me don't even think about it, right? So I didn't. And the church bought it because they bought it cash on the cash sale. There's still 2 tanks in the ground where there was a tank. So there's a tank in the back, and then there's a tank still in the ground right here. and they were supposed to get it removed, but to remove the tank, it's about $500,000. So the bank ended up taking the money off. The church ended up buying the place for $750,000 cash. And because it's a church, they don't have to pay those taxes. Now the taxes were like 60 grand a year when I was here. They're probably more now. Um, uh, but there's a tank right over in this area, right? So this used to be back like in the early, the halfway through the century, 50s, 60s, up to about the 70s before the company went out of business. It was a bridge company at one point and a trucking company. Healy was the company when I did my research. So the Healy company fixed bridges, and then obviously the trucking company did trucking. So either way, they both had vehicles, and they both filled up their own trucks. So that's why there's tanks in the ground. So the tanks are still in the ground. Um, but yeah, obviously you see, like you said, Pippi, the church isn't keeping the place up anymore. Well, they never kept the place up. So ever since they bought it, I guess since they realized, we paid cash for the place, they don't have to pay taxes, from what I believe, because it is a church. Um, they just let the place go. Um, and there you have it. Man, I got sticker bugs on type of shit. See what I had to go through to show y'all that shit? Y'all wonder why I don't come up to this motherfucker to show y'all. Fucking gotta crawl through fucking sticker bugs and all type of shit. All right, so it was just cool that I showed y'all that after. Who says drop my location? Who said that? Where you at right now? Somebody said drop it. My location is my location. Let me make sure the mic kick back over. It should have kicked back over to the truck Bluetooth. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me still. Sorry, I'm just getting these sticker bugs out. I would take this wire down and just drive my truck through all these weeds and shit, but I don't want to go through all that shit. I think he got a lock on there too. Ron probably in his truck. It don't look like it looked like his truck broke down. Remember, Ron was the guy that I called on that live stream that one time, and his truck was broke down. I told him I was gonna loan him some money. That's Ron. So he's a squatter. He's been squatting here since he lost the place in 2005, and nobody can get rid of him. Not even the church, obviously, as you can see. Don't be like Ron. That's why you gotta run your trucking business the right way, so you don't end up like him. But uh, yeah, I thought I'd just show y'all that, since I did do the montage video and showed y'all when the place was live and vibrant, um, prior to me retiring, and this is the way it looks now. Um, so yeah, man, church they thought they was gonna be able to build, but aldermen won't let them, because the church that wanted to come right here, it's a large church. I wouldn't consider a mega church. I would consider slightly under a mega church. And the main street over here is only two lanes, one lane going north and one lane going south, right? And then obviously you saw me come in through the back entrance, which is off of a side street. And the alderman's like, your church is too big, it got too much traffic. It'll, it'll just be a cluster F of traffic, and you can't build. Like, that lot is Stony Island, meaning you can't dig into the ground over there. That's why My facility, it didn't have a basement or anything. You can't dig into the ground. And they thought that they were going to be able to do construction and shit, and they found out they couldn't. So they just kind of abandoned the place after they paid for it cash. Like I said, I don't think they got to pay taxes because they're church. The taxes on that place are like when I said last time when I was there, there was 60, a little over 60,000, 62,000 a year. So they probably closer to 70 now. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nobody gonna, you know, even a multi, let's say $1 million a year business, depending on what their profit margin is not gonna pay 60,000 a year on property taxes. So it's just a lot of space, you know. Find Ron so we can see him. Man, I don't feel like arguing with Ron. You saw how he was talking when I called him that day. Ron gonna want to talk about how I left him hanging and how I should have just bought the place and da da da. I don't want to hear all that shit. Ron he's a miserable old trucker that lives in his truck right there where you see him at. The last time I talked to Ron a few months ago, I just called him to check how he was doing. I think it was Easter. It was Easter. I called to see how he was doing because I drove past and I thought about him, and I always would bring him a plate. Right when we was up there, my mom would bring a plate and she said, "Man, get this one to Ron." So I thought about Ron. I was at my OG house. I said, "Man, I'm gonna take a plate to Ron." So I called to make sure he was there, and he just wanted to go down memory lane, and I just don't have time, you know. I set Ron up. I used to help Ron out. Um, I used to let Ron come in the office and receive his loads and send his bills. And when shit, his truck would break down and he didn't have a car, I would leave him the keys to one of the vans so he could get around and do what he needed to do so he wouldn't have to take his truck, or if his truck was broke down, or whether it was broke down or not, he didn't have to haul it around just to even go to McDonald's or some shit like that. I would leave him one of the keys out for one of the vans and let him do what he needed to do. Let him come in the warehouse, use the bathroom, shit like that. But he an old, stubborn, grumpy person who was once a successful trucker, but he made bad business decisions, right? He, like most truckers back in the day, because I think Ron started trucking in '72. This is prior to deregulation. You know, cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Like most old truckers do, cocaine to keep you up. Prostitutes. Um, Bad, poor business decisions. He bought that place for $250,000 in '92, which to $250,000 now for that place, right, wouldn't be a lot, but it was a lot back then, right? And the taxes were not as high as they are now, but they would be equivalent to what high is now back then, right? He couldn't hold the place, right? Because he thought that he was going to turn it into a truck yard, a truck parking yard. As y'all saw, it's plenty of space, but what I didn't show y'all is a viaduct that right out by that front entrance is a viaduct right there that's only 12 feet. So even though 57, 90, 94 is right around the corner off 95th and Stony Island, ain't no trucks getting down that street because that viaduct too low. Common sense would have told him that. So the truck parking place never jumped off the ground, right? He tried to turn it into a car wash, right? He didn't want to get, y'all saw how the ground was not paved in the back. You can't open the car wash and then people run out the car wash and there's dust kicking up. You got to get the ground paved. I had asphalt company come out when I was there to give me a quote on getting it paved. The cheapest route, right, would be that black asphalt. They told me it would be minimum at least 100 grand, and I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna put 100 grand into paving this back here just so the dust won't fly up, right? So I didn't do it, and by the grace of God, you know what I'm saying, I didn't, because it would have really been a waste because I wouldn't have been there, uh, you know, another 10, 15 years, right? So Obviously, the car wash didn't work because when people would come there, they would pull in the front and then pull out the back and be dust everywhere, right? Because of all the gravel. So he eventually ended up, falling behind. And my landlord, the person who I was renting from, came and bought it and kind of bailed him out. So he paid it off, paid $1 million for it, paid off his back taxes. And I think Ron walked away with like a couple $100,000, right? He floundered that away. So he had a second chance and he floundered that away, stopped working, and now you see, now here is what you see, you know, the result of 1992 to 2024. He's still there on that yard living in his truck. All right. So if he got to use the bathroom, he got to go to the nearest fast food restaurant to use the bathroom, right? Because obviously you see the church, the new owners, they ain't taking care of the place. So he can't go in there. Probably ain't no plumbing or nothing in there. So you see they haven't even cleaned the place out. You see how much shit I left in that place? All the styrofoam, the boxes, the pallets, all that shit. I took all my shit out. We threw as much shit out as possible, but we had so much shit from years of business and all that styrofoam. And the reason why we had so much styrofoam and empty boxes left, I don't want you to think that we were running to the very day we moved out. No, we would have to keep a lot of styrofoam and keep a lot of boxes for reverse logistics. Like when we would pick up a lot of shit to send it back to the distributor or to the manufacturer, a lot of those boxes we would use to prep, right? So we'll use some of those boxes, cut some of those boxes up, styrofoam, put that, tape it to certain things like couches, and then hit it with the shrink wrap, right? That cut down on excess costs and saving money, right? So we would keep a lot of that shit, right? So that's why you see so much shit that we left behind. But the church ain't even came in there in all these years and even uh, cleaned out the place. This is a church. A church owns that place now. A church, they ain't even cleaned the inside out. They ain't even did a clean out of the inside. The way we walked out the day I handed over the keys and left the place, that's the same way it still looks. They don't even cut the grass. So 100K into the ground literally is crazy. Yeah, but you saw how big the place is. So, I thought about it because I'm like, damn, I wanted to make the place look a little bit better and keep some of the dust down, but man, I wasn't finna pay 100 grand to put asphalt down on some shit that I didn't own and wasn't planning on owning. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they charged me. The quote that they gave me was 100 grand just to turf it with that black asphalt shit. We ain't even talking about concrete, just asphalt. 100 grand. Uh, uh, I'm picking up a load at the airport in Chicago right now. Are you out here in the city? Should have hit me. Should have hit me. Shout out to Moving Company Hustle. No, I wasn't hiking. I was in a place that is not being upkept anymore. People said very unkept, look like you get it for a little nothing. I doubt if you can get it for a little or nothing. Even if the church decided to sell it, they would sell it for at least a million plus. Right? Listen, $1 million for that place is a good deal, right? The purchasing the property is not the issue there. The issue there now and has always been the taxes. It's always been the taxes. If the taxes wasn't so high, I would have probably purchased the place, right? But the taxes, I've watched the taxes kill the last two people that were there. I literally watched the last two owners. the taxes killed them. Now the taxes ain't gonna kill the church because the church ain't gotta pay taxes, right? That's why they just sitting on it and ain't doing nothing with it because they already bought the place outright cash, right? They ain't keeping the place up. Whatever tickets the alderman give them probably for not cutting the grass and shit, the church just pay that shit and write it off. Is that where he used to store the box truck? That was my old warehouse. How much was it to keep the trucks there? Nah, I didn't store the trucks there. The whole place was mine. I rented the whole place, so I was my own 3PL at that point. All the freight was coming to me at that warehouse, and then my trucks were running it from that warehouse. So it wasn't me storing the trucks there. I had my office and everything was there. So it wasn't storage. Like freight was coming there, and we were running the freight from my warehouse. You gotta watch the live stream I did a few weeks ago, and then you'll be able to piece everything together. You must be new to the channel. Uh, what up? What up? Jacksonville, Florida. What's going on? Shout out to Marcellus. What's going on? Why everybody so quiet? What's going on today? Everybody chilling? Everybody out in their box trucks getting to the money? Y'all out getting to the money? I'm about to take my test with CDL. Okay. Good luck with that. Chicago's very own said he punching the clock. It's a good day, man. It's a good Monday, man, to get out and get to the money, man. Yeah, but I just wanted to come on real quick and tell y'all about, maintenance and a lot of things with them. Some of these box trucks you can do on your own if you take the time and really assess what you think the problem may be. You can go on YouTube and literally type in, or go to Google, literally type in what the problem you're having is, and some forums will pop up and some YouTube videos, and more than likely, the problem may not be as bad as you think it is, and it may be something that you can literally just get a socket and a wrench, or maybe some brake cleaner or some WD-40 and maybe a wire brush and do it yourself. Something like as simple as cleaning the ground wire. I remember I had an electrical issue with one of my trucks, and same thing. I took it to a few different places, and no one could figure out the problem. And then one place recommended an electrical place, right? And this place didn't even work on trucks. They didn't even have a bay to fit the truck in, but they said they would work on it on the outside, right? And it was cold outside. They charged me too, and the problem was the junction box, the the black tape that the electrical tape, right? It was old and it was worn, and from dealing with the elements and just the shit that goes on in a market like Chicago, snow, salt, all that stuff. So he what he did was he changed the electrical tape, connected the wires again, changed the electrical tape, and kind of hid it away from the element a little bit, and the issue was fixed. And I never had that issue again. Like it was a issue where like the lights wouldn't come on, right? The lights would come on, and no one could figure the shit out. Whole time it was just in the electrical tape was worn, and he just needed to retape the shit up down by the junction box. Simple fix. Great Polo says, "Are you going live tonight?" I might go live a little later on. I need to find a good mobile diagnostic technician to test a potential truck purchase. All that regen crap concerns me. So there's a company, there's a national chain company that I usually recommend people to. I can't think of the name right now. But when you later, maybe later when I go live, if you're on the live, put it in the chat, and then I can go on my computer and tell you what the name of the company is, because I had a subscriber that I referred there, went there, and they sent me a copy of the report. I just can't think of the name right now, and then I'll let you know the name of it later. But yeah, you can contact them, and they'll go out and they'll diagnose it for you, and then they'll send you a report, and you can look at the report and make your decision from there. How did you deal with theft issues on your truck? I didn't have to deal with them. I didn't have to deal with any theft issues at all. I'll give you 1 minute if you can guess why. If you really watch my content, you should know the answer or why I didn't have to deal with theft issues. I'll give you a clue. I started building my fleet in 2012, 2013. And the trucks that I was buying, the used trucks that I was buying, was 8 years old. So the place that I was going to buy trucks at that particular time, they were buying '05s and '06s. Paul got it. All right. The new trucks, right? So I bought two new vehicles, right? And the two new vehicles that I bought, so the 26 footers and the 16 footers, I never bought a new 26 footer, right? The vehicles that I purchased new were not 26 footers, right? They were a 16 footer that I showed y'all, and then another one was a 2500 extended length van. Everything else that y'all seen from those 26 footers that y'all seen sitting in the back, all those 16 footers, those were all purchased used, right? So I never had to deal with theft. And then the new vehicles that I purchased didn't have a theft system. Yep. So right now I'm at vehicle emission. There's another reason I had to fire this truck up, because I gotta get the plate sticker renewed, and every 2 years in the state of Illinois, you gotta come out here and sit in this line and get an emissions test. I know some do all states do emissions, or is that just the certain states do this shit? And believe it or not, when I started buying my box trucks, I would get requests to come out here. So I'm like, yo, I don't gotta. I'm like, dude, you gotta do vehicle emissions for these big ass trucks. I thought they was exempt. The thing was, they was exempt, right? But no one could give me an answer. So somebody told me you need to run them out there one by one. Each one is like, I know it's gonna be a pain in the ass, but you need to run them out there. And when you run them out there, you're gonna pull it up and the thing, they not even gonna hook the shit up. They just gonna automatically give you an exempt. But you gotta run that shit out there, each one by one, run them out there so that they can see it and see that it's a truck so that they can actually do the exemption there, and then you'll never get those certifications in the mail again. Yeah, but back in the day when I was buying trucks, man, I had to run every single truck out here. So after the first year, so I buy it. Let's say I bought it in June, right? Or let's say March, right? So the stickers will always be due in June, right? Replaced in June. So about 2 months prior, let's say April, I would start getting them postcards like, yo, 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 you got to bring them. Like, man, these big ass trucks, they should be exempt. I would bring them out here. They would look at it. I would pull in. It would just print out that paper exempt, and I would never get a notification to come back out here again. The tree says she purposely bought older trucks so I wouldn't have to deal with the death issues. Also, one of my trucks has a mom's attic, so I have two spare tires and plenty of tools stored for emergencies. I heard they were trying to crack down on those deletes, even gliders. I heard they was trying to crack down on the deletes too. Chicago very own. You say you used to work out here? Yeah, I'm at the one in Markham right now. Um, back in the day, this is back in the day. I don't know how old you is. It was one on like 103rd and like no, not 103rd. Yeah, like 103rd and Doty. Was it 103rd or 111? I think it was like 112th and Doty. This is back in the day. They've been closed for a minute. I think they closed in like '01 or maybe '02. I was bringing my Chevy to that one back in the day, but since they closed that one, I just take all my vehicles out here. Uh, yeah, Great Polo got it right. I'm on the West Coast. I don't even know if they even allow pre-diff in that state now. See, California, Gavin Newsom, he's something else out there. I heard when it comes to the trucks. I heard like y'all can't even register certain trucks if they are older than a certain year. And I heard like every year, every 2 years, like a year just gets deleted. So like, let's say what is it now, 2024? So I heard like right now y'all might not be able to register anything older than like what a 2016 or 2017. Is that correct? Is that correct? See now, it says sounds familiar. Yeah, that's what I heard. So I'm not sure because it seems like so much stuff changes in Cali. Uh, the past couple years that I just stopped keeping up. It doesn't affect me directly, but I do try to, uh, when I do come across information as far as trucking in that state, as far as the requirements and the regulations, I do try to put it in my long term memory for, people that are coming into the business that may be in that market. I remember some stuff that I come across as far as Gavin Newsom and his trucking, whatever he got going on out there, but I can't remember it all. I think he wants to get rid of, from what it sounds like to me, and I could be wrong. I think he wants to rid of just uh, vehicles with engines altogether. I think he just want to go fully electric. I think he wants to be the first state before the infrastructure bill even goes into effect. He has the first state that's um, all electric. So lots of work in Cali, but damn near crazy. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work in Cali, but Hey, Latrice there, if you got a mom's attic, then that truck you bought, that's an old moving truck. That's an old moving truck. Trucks that are designed with the mom's attic are designed with the purpose of being owned and operated as a moving truck. I had one with a mom's attic. What's up, boss? Leave it running or no?
Yeah, leave it running.
All right.
There you go.
Appreciate it. I'm still frozen. I'm Gucci.
I gotta see right now.
All right.
It's on the computer. It's not me.
Oh, I
It
thought
goes up to me. I just pass it.
I feel you.
Did you recently get work done to the truck or take it out of storage?
It's been sitting. I don't drive it that often.
You gotta drive it somewhere. Drive it for about a few days. 3-4 days, you should be straight. Bring it back.
Oh yeah.
No jumps. For you or anyone else, don't disconnect the battery. Don't get an oil change.
For
Drive the
real?
vehicle for about 3 or 4 days. Bring it back.
All right.
It's because the monitor's turned off. You just turned it back on. Basically, it's like restarting a phone. You gotta drive it, get these monitors to turn back on.
It takes about 4 days of driving.
I say we usually recommend a week. I think about 3 to 4 days for a Chevy should be straight.
All right. Bet. Thank you. Yep. Wow. I gotta drive the car now. Y'all heard that? Mark definitely don't have cricket service. I got AT&T, but I had got a phone call. I got a phone call. That's why the phone froze up. Can y'all hear me now? Yo, can you hear me now? Oh, let me see something. Yeah. So the emissions rejected it. Like as y'all heard him say, man, did you just start the truck and not been driving? I don't drive the truck, so the emissions couldn't read the computer because the truck, I haven't driven it in a while. So I gotta drive the truck for about a week and then bring it back out here to get tested. So no oil changes, no nothing. I don't even get it, bro. Back in the day, they would hook this thing up to your gas tank, and obviously this was before they started mandating those computer systems where they plug it in. They would just plug it up to your. They would just screw this thing onto your gas tank, and then they would check your emissions that way. But now they plug it into the computer, and since they plug it into the computer, like you gotta really be running your car. And since I don't drive this, the computer wouldn't even take it. So I guess I'll be driving this car for a week, then I'll bring it back out here next week. But since I'm out this way, two first say, yeah, I heard that nonsense. Yeah, it's ridiculous because I don't even drive this fucking thing. Whatever. And this is a long way from where I live at. So Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to drive it. What I finna say? It's an aquarium out here, so I'm gonna go by this aquarium and see if they got any dope fish since I'm way out here, and then I'll take my behind back home. Well, you know, I could go by the yard. I could go by the yard and check on my trucks. I think I might do that since I'm out this way. I'll go by the yard, check on my trucks. I ain't been up there in a few weeks. Uh, yeah, that shit just blew me right now, man. Like, man, you mean to tell me I gotta drive all the way back out here? Y'all couldn't check because he knew I ain't drive the truck. He said, man, you ain't drove this truck. Computer ain't. Nah. Damn, bro. Not really a show truck. It's just I got other cars, so um, this truck it serves a purpose. It's just not serving a purpose at the moment. It serves the purpose in the wintertime. It serves a purpose when it's really cold or when it's snow or when we get a blizzard. When we get a lot of snow, it serves a purpose. It doesn't really serve the purpose on why I bought it for now, so I don't drive it now. Now in the summertime, you have cars that serve purpose for in the summertime. So that don't get driven in the wintertime. So but yeah, I'm gonna go by this aquarium, see what they got. Then I'm gonna go by the yard, check on my trucks. I'm gonna take my ass home. You said you meant the box trucks? Oh, no, they ain't show trucks no more. I mean, they never was show trucks. They just trucks that I kept that now I should really be selling, but I'm gonna keep it funky with you. I'm just too lazy. I'm too lazy, man. I'm too lazy. I took the pictures of them, but I just haven't listed them. I'm not gonna sell both of them. I'm gonna only sell one more. I'm gonna keep one. I'm just gonna sell one more truck and I'm gonna keep one. So look at these cicadas hitting me. I'm driving through the damn. This is my first time this summer seeing cicadas. I haven't seen any. You don't see them in the city. But since I'm out here, way out, and I just drove through a forest, I'm like, what the hell is these big ass things flying out? Big ass cicadas. I didn't even knew they flew. I thought they just climb up trees and shit. You could tell I'm a city boy. I'm a city dude. I don't know shit about. I know they come out every 17 and 13 years. I remember in grammar school they came out and we had to do like science projects and shit, and we went to like the forest preserve and all that shit. But like you don't see them in the city. Even when I walk through all those shrubs and shit at the old yard, they wasn't none there. So look, they steady flying out here, smacking the shit out of these damn things out here. Let me get from out here in these suburbs, man. This shit, big ass cicadas and shit. Get some mileage. I'm gonna get some mileage. I'm gonna drive it. I'm gonna drive it some more. I'm gonna drive it for about a week, like he said. I'm gonna drive it for about a week. And so that the computer can generate or whatever the hell he said. And then I'll probably bring it back next Monday. And get the emissions, see if the computer is ready by then. And my sticker ain't due until August 31st, right? But I don't wait till the last minute to do shit, right? So it's June. I got it's another 2.5 months, but I don't wait till the last minute. Good thing I didn't, because if I'd have parked the truck for another 2 months and then came out here and the same shit would have happened, and they were like, oh, you gotta drive the truck some more, it's been sitting. And August 31st would have came and then the plates would expire. So I'm gonna get it out the way now and be done with it. Martin need to put the truck back on the road. We need that. We need the RED, the red. Man, I was gonna put a truck back out on the road. I was gonna get out here and do some odds and ends jobs just to do some content and talk shit and tell people you ain't out here getting this bread. I'm out here getting this bread. That was the whole purpose of me doing it. Showing people that there's money out here. But I ain't gonna lie, man. When you become comfortable, it's kind of hard, It's easy to get out there when you gotta get out there, but when you ain't gotta get out there just to get out there to shoot some shit that I ain't even gonna make no money from, just so I could talk shit and tell, oh man, it's spread out here. How y'all let a guy that's been retired 2 years get back on the truck and get more money than you and you out here? That's the only reason I was gonna do it, to crack a few jokes, motivate some people and shit like that. But man, I gotta motivate myself to even do that. I gotta motivate myself to even do that. So, but maybe I'm gonna go by the yard today, and them trucks probably been sitting too long. I probably need to take them and take them to my mechanic. The one that I'm gonna drive, if I do it, take it to my mechanic and just have them do a thorough diagnostic on it, because it's been sitting. I'm probably gonna do that. I gotta do that shit. Oh man, I just got too much shit going on, man. Too much shit going on. All right. Oops. I know this shit usually clicks off when I get out the truck. Let me switch over now. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know a thumbs up if you can hear me. Paul said you're doing more harm having them sit like that. Probably so. How you doing?
And are you helping someone?
Excuse me.
He needs fish.
Pardon me. What's this? Oh, it's a green Phantom right there. Is that a green Phantom? Yep. $100 for that one.
Excuse me real quick. Sorry. I'm going to go back through.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Peacock bass. That one right there. What's that one? It's $250. Somebody was like, them fish. I told you, these fish don't be cheap. Like, all these fish too small for my tank. Get eaten. Shit, but even they like $90, 3 for 90. $7. Sorry.
I think that was the one I was chasing. I don't know. We can open it.
You got the lamb.
Excuse me.
I got 4 dozen.
Let's
It's
see.
my pack is 13 things. Is that right?
Somebody said, "Where's the Oscars?" I showed you the Oscars. These the biggest Oscars they got, and them ain't that big. Them not even half the size of my Oscar. My Oscar about a foot. Look at that pipe. Look at them discus.
We might.
Yeah, they didn't have much for selection today. Probably sold out of everything over the weekend. You ever think about raising coral shards? Nope. Coral is for a much maintenance. The maintenance that I have to deal with for fresh water to me is enough. The freshwater maintenance is enough for me. I don't want to deal with coral, deal with salt water. I don't want to deal with saltwater maintenance. Jonathan said, "Don't get me started, Mark. You talking about with the fish? Cheaper to keep sitting than to buy when you don't have a truck. Uh, cheaper to keep sitting than to buy when you don't have a truck." Um, the only reason I kept those two trucks is as insurance, just in case I wanted to come back one day. But that was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. So as y'all can see, I ain't in no. I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. I may, like I said, I may hop in one of the trucks and just shoot some content from time to time and mess around and talk shit. Uh, but that's about it, and that's gonna be far and few between. That's gonna be far and few between, Charlie. I'm finna go by the yard though right now. Check on them while I'm out this way. I may actually, I'm gonna probably have to jump them again. Truck one, damn, that's what I gotta do. Truck one, I gotta, I'm probably gonna have to change the battery in truck one. I don't think that truck gonna start at all. I don't think it's gonna start at all. What's next is no more trucking. I'm new here. Nothing. What I'm doing now, what I've been doing for the past 2 years. Nothing. I mean, I got other businesses that I don't really talk about. Maybe I'll talk about some of them, one day. If you follow me, you'll know that I try to keep it mostly on box trucking. I don't really try to dive into other things outside of box trucking. I don't try to dive into, you know, my personal life. But there's other businesses that I have that I'm not, um, as far as me myself, active in, right? Investment wise, yeah, but not active in. And then, I built a nice uh, portfolio of assets, paper assets, over the years, and a combination of my paper assets, some real estate, and uh, other business investments that I have is what keeps me keeps the bills paid, right? So as far as me starting something new, yeah, I mean, I'm always open to new opportunities, but not an opportunity that will require one, a large number of employees or any employees of any. When I look into new ventures, my one of my first questions is, or my first concerns, I should say, is this something that has to rely on other people, right? I understand that in the times we living in, it's hard to rely on people. People are not as um reliable as they were in the past. So I look for things that don't really rely on a bunch of people, like things that I can either one do myself or two can outsource, right? Um, what you see me doing right now is pretty much how my day goes. I run around, do errands while I'm in the house. They call me on this other channel. This is the guy that's in the house all the time, right? Which I'll be in the house, I'll go out to the gym, and then I'll come back home. Um, but the whole time, I have assets that are making money for me. I don't desire to start another business that I have to rely on individuals anymore. I think I've done that. I've done it uh, at a large scale. I would consider a large scale for me, coming from where I came from. I didn't never think I would be at that point. So 30, 35 employees, 15 trucks. And when I say 15 trucks, I'm talking about 15 of my own truck. There was times where I was operating maybe 20 trucks, right? In the summertime, we would get up to about 20 trucks, but those additional 5 trucks were trucks we would just rent for the season. We would rent them for like 5 or 6 months for just the abundance of work in the season. But my actual trucks, right? So, yeah, I think I've conquered that, and now I'm just doing things that uh, don't require people, and my assets are pretty much my money, I should say, is pretty much doing the heavy lifting for me nowadays. Uh, Fair enough. Just curious, since you seem successful. You're a smart man. I agree with your business principles. I have been looking into getting into box trucking and car hauling. Semi with the CDL, same principles as you. Okay. Yeah, good luck with that. I think there's still a lot of opportunity in the business. That's why when I talk about the business, people, one of the main questions people always ask me, why did you get out? Right? I think a lot of people, when they watch the channel, they think just because a person is out means that the business isn't good. And I always tell people it is good. It's just how you go about it. It's not as easy, I would say, or you know, as it once was when I got in. Like I can compare what might have seemed hard to me back then, but in comparison to now, yes, it was a lot easier. As time goes on, things do get harder. Why? More people are in them, more competition, right? This wasn't a space. Box trucking wasn't a space that people were breaking their neck to get into, right? People were looking to work, right? I always say it was no gig economy. There was no the culture wasn't where it's at now, where it's being pushed that you got to be your own boss. You can't work for nobody. Now you got people saying, "Oh, I can't work for nobody." The reason why a lot of people saying they can't work for nobody is because that's the agenda, that's the narrative that's being pushed online. But I'm the person that tell you everybody can't be their own boss. It's not. Listen, this shit ain't designed for everybody to be a business owner. It's just not. That's why you have people that win and you have people that fail. The people that fail, it wasn't designed for them. They tried. They gave it the good old scouts try, or whatever the saying is, and it didn't work for them, right? It's not meant for everybody. But you, as a good business person, you have to know when it's time to move on, right? Opportunity was presented to me that'll never be presented again. I took it, and now in hindsight, looking back at it, and I'm just telling you this because I know you knew, like you said, and a lot of people have heard me say this before. It was the right move. I was not sure that at that time if it was the right move. I knew I was making a shit ton of money hand over fist for trucks that in normal circumstances I wouldn't have been able to, right? But I didn't know that if that thing that we were in that no one knew at that particular time, we were trying to figure out how long it was going to last, that once it was over with, right? If everything would go back to normal. We now know that no, nothing went back to the way it was. People are still um people still don't want to work, and not only do people not want to work, they don't want to work for nobody else. Everybody want to do shit for themselves. The pandemic brought that mindset and that culture in, that whole boss culture, right? uh so I saw an opportunity and I took it, and now in hindsight, like I said, it was the right decision, because if I didn't, I would have a bunch of trucks, and I guarantee, I'm 100% guaranteed that I would be lucky if a third of those trucks was running. I would be lucky if a third of those trucks were running. Not because anything for me is, I don't think I would have the people to run at the magnitude that I was prior to the pandemic. So um, I think now coming in, a person that comes in now, if they duplicate what I did, right, they may not get to a point where I did as far as with the amount of trucks, the warehouse and shit like that. But if they can build up maybe somewhere between 3 to 5 trucks, I think it would be good. I think 3 to 5 trucks in this time would be good. You know what I'm saying? If you can hold on to 3 to 5 guys, really, let's say 6 to 7, because if you're running 5 trucks, you're gonna need a few extra guys as alternates. If you can hold on and keep about a good 6, 7 guys, I think you straight doing one man shit. Even with the moving and the big and bulky, even worse. Why? Because there's more labor involved. Like these cats now ain't trying to touch, lift, carry nothing. They ain't trying to carry nothing, put nothing on their back, none of that. All that work is going to the migrants. And here's something else that I wanted to talk about. I'm probably going to talk about it a little later in full detail. Somebody mentioned something in one of the live streams, or I don't know if it was one of the live streams or it was somebody I was talking to. A lot of the migrants, not only are they doing all the labor intensive things that a lot of Americans don't want to do, Americans from any generation, right? Primarily the younger generation. But I heard they infiltrated the gig culture. I heard, and I didn't pay attention because listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. If Man ain't delivering my DoorDash or my Uber Eats, it was Jose. Now, when I look at Jose, I don't know if he's American or he's first generation or he's over here the right way. I really can't tell if he's from Mexico or if he's from Venezuela. A lot of these Venezuelans done figured out a way to do the DoorDash and the Uber Eats and the Grubhub. So I heard this. I don't know. Somebody said it in one of the live streams I saw in the chat. Somebody told me this, but I started paying attention. I like to pay attention. Sure enough, I can tell the Venezuelans because I'm keeping it funky with you. I'm keeping it funky with you. Don't get mad at me for keeping it funky with you. You can tell like a first generation, let's say Hispanic that grew up in Chicago, right? They are part of the American culture. They carry themselves like the American culture. They not finna wear the funny stuff. Like a lot of the people that are from some of these third world countries, they really look up to Americans. All right. They may act like they don't and talk down on this, but they look up to us. They want that swag, right? A lot of the shit that they see, they may not be able to afford to get the creme de la creme, for example. And this is how I can tell. A real Chicagoan, no matter if they black, white, or Hispanic, don't wear them funny dunny Jordans. We don't wear those funny dunny Jordans. Listen, if Mike didn't wear them, we not putting them on. We don't wear Spizikes. We don't wear none of that goofy shit that I see a lot of these other people wear, all these funny ass Mikes, the Spizikes, and the mics that look like Air Force Ones, but then they look like a combination of an Air Force One and a number 3 and a number 4. We don't wear that. A lot of them Venezuelans, they do that, or they'll wear like the fake Air Jordan T-shirt. It'll just have the Jumpman with air on it, and you could tell somebody screen printed it, right? And then they wear their hat broke off like in a perfect 180 degrees, and like we don't wear our hats. Like if you part of a mob, we break our hat off a certain type of way. Like they should have be broke like a full 180, like this the 80s or something. Like cats didn't break their hats off like that until back in the 80s. So like they try to do things to fit in, but they still ain't picked up on it. So and then another way I can tell is these scooters, like DoorDash and Uber. Like you'll see the cats on the like the little electric scooters and the bikes and stuff like that. I've never had food delivered to me as much as I've had delivered to me in the past 4 or 5 months on a bike or a scooter than ever since I've been ordering DoorDash and Uber. And it's always from a person who can't speak English, because now Uber has it where when you get your food, you have to give them a code and they got to put the code in. And the way they ask me for the code, they don't ask me in English. They just point at the phone. They point, and then I see that they want me to put the 4-digit code in, and then I'll put it in. So the 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 migrants are not only taking the blue collar jobs that Americans don't want, they also infiltrated the gig economy now. They doing all the Uber, and they doing all the Uber Eats and the DoorDash and the Grubhub. So man, I'm saying that to say this, man. Listen, man, listen. If you out here and you listen, man, people need to figure some shit out what they gonna do and get to it, man. If you don't, you're gonna get replaced. And that's just basically what I'm trying to say, man. Figure some shit out and get to it. Don't get replaced by somebody that can't even speak English. All right? Please figure out something, do it. Like we was talking to Kelvin the other day on the channel. And Kelvin, I don't know if you in here, but it's just like I was telling you the other day, like, and you was like, man, I'm like, you got too much time. You need to be doing something else, man, so you can get you some more money. And you was like, man, I tried to do Uber and Lyft, but it just don't pay enough. Listen, if you going through a situation, anything be the blame. What you not willing to take, somebody else will, and then that's going to take opportunity away from you altogether. You got to get yourself up and out of a rut so that you can be in a higher place, so that you don't have to compete for that shit down there. You got to get yourself up and out of that rut. What you not willing to take, somebody else will, and then it won't be anything for you to take at all. CPM on those bikes and scooters is probably good. It probably is good. You know what I'm saying? But this is what they have offered to them so that they can make that little money that they need to make. How they've infiltrated into the system, I don't know, but they definitely out here doing DoorDash and Uber Eats. Yeah, they took over the gig. Oh no, I didn't put my phone on charge. Give me a second. All right. Let me over, Scud. Come on, bro. Let me over, Scud. Y'all can hear me now? My bad. I had plugged my charger and I guess I took the sound away. But yeah, on my way to the yard to see what's up with my trucks. I ain't checked on them in a minute. All right, where did I leave off on the comments? Mark, you not lying. All my Uber and DoorDash drivers are from Africa too. Yeah, I ain't seen, like, we ain't really, in my city, we ain't really bombarded. It's Africans here, but not like how they are up in, I think they got a heavy presence in like Minnesota and some other states and cities in the country. Not so much here. They're here, but not like how they up in like Minnesota and some other places. Here we more of a Hispanic migrant type of town because it's really industrial. So, you know, they come up here and they take a lot of those warehouse and factory jobs. But yeah, yep. So, you said road trip, Mark? Yeah, I'm just running some errands today, man. Just figure out, get a live stream in real quick. Let me see. Mark, out in NYC, even the apps like Roadie, Spark. Yeah, I mean, they've infiltrated. So like now they took over that. And check this out. The orders that a lot of people probably not taking, they probably taking them all. They probably ain't refusing nothing. So when Kelvin said that the other day, now I guess I kind of get it. I guess it kind of makes sense now, because when I sat and thought about what he said, and then what I heard somebody else say, or what I saw in the chat, I can't remember, about the migrants that took over the gig apps as far as the food delivery and shit like that, and then me putting that together with what I've been coming across lately. Listen, they came here to serve a purpose and they serving it. I'm just curious to how does an illegal person get a DoorDash account? Oh, here they go right here. Look at them, all outside the Home Depot. Look at them sitting all outside the Home Depot. And I'm in the hood. This is a Home Depot in a black neighborhood. They over here. They must don't know, and no black people finna hire them. Black people finna get man finna come and hang that drywall. Or Carlos. They're gonna get Carlos before they get them. Because they ain't got no van, they ain't got no tools, they ain't got nothing. Now, I'm gonna be honest, where you can get them, where they might come in handy at, and if you short on the moving tip, you might throw them on a moving truck. They might know how to lift some furniture, some labor. But as far as coming in and doing some construction, they ain't got nothing to work with. They ain't got no tools or nothing. I don't even know why they sitting outside of there. You have some rental units, but tenant screening and tenants can be a pain. Tell me about it. You do market rated? You do market, or you do Section 8? 2 for 1. You do market or you do Section 8? James said Home Depot in 87 make me. That's where I was just at. That's the Home Depot I just drove past, 187th and the Dan Ryan. So you do market? You ever thought about doing Section 8? Home Depot on 87th make me show an ID when I pick up a roadie order. They say they have had a lot of theft. I believe it. I believe it. Believe it. What's crazy is the actual people who actually were the ones that were really supposed to pick up the order are probably the ones that are picking up the orders and just not dropping them off. They may see something that they want and they figure like, well, shit, I'd rather keep this than keep the account, and just keep it and never show up with it and get banned off and kicked off the account. No more Section 8, probably a headache. Well, one thing with Section 8 I can tell you is, you know you're going to get paid, all right? Screening is the same. You still want to screen with Section 8, and I know how it is, a person will come in and they'll sell you one thing, and then next thing you know, there's a whole nother family living in there with a person, or a man living in there. Just a bunch of different scenarios I can run down to you right now, but Section 8 is pretty much the same thing. At least you guaranteed to get paid. Now, if you screen really, really well, a lot of people think, well, okay, you rent out Section 8, they're gonna tear your crib up. That's not true for the most part, because if they go into your place and they tear your place up and you report them to Section 8, Section 8 will kick them off. So they do have to be mindful of how they keep up with the place that they stand in. They can't just go in there and just punch holes in the wall and scratch the floor, because they can get put out of the program. So yeah, but screening nowadays, in both categories, I'll tell you this, and I'm gonna speak not from a landlord perspective. I'm gonna speak from an owner's perspective in my condo building, right? So when I bought my condo in there, the reason why I bought my condo in there, obviously, moving people, having a moving company, being on the truck prior to me coming off the truck, it gave me the opportunity to go into a bunch of different buildings in the city, right? So 2010, 2011, 2013, all those years that I was on the truck, I got a chance to go into a lot of buildings in the city, right? And then the building that I actually live in was a building I did 2 moves in there prior to, me buying a place in there. And, I was sold the first time I went in there. And then after the second time, I said, yo, when I finally, decide to move, I'm moving in this building. Like, I'm buying me a spot in this building. This is the building for me, right? And by the grace of God, I did that. I've only lived in one place ever since I moved out the crib, right? All right, so I moved in that place. Now, obviously, I moved in that place for a very multitude of reasons other than just the unit that I purchased. Obviously, the building, right? And another thing was the owners, right? The other owners in the building. I paid attention who was coming in and out the building. I didn't want to see no Pookie and Ray Ray. I figured wasn't no Pookie and Ray Ray coming in and out of the building anyway, because Pookie and Ray Ray can't buy property, nor could they afford one of the units in that building, right? But here's where the culture shift from 2014 to now. A lot of the people that were purchasing back then were purchasing and they were living in the building, right? Since then, you had people sell units, people buy units, lived in them for a year, maybe lived in them for 2 years, and instead of selling them, they bought a house, or they got married, bought a house, or started a family, bought a house out in the suburbs, and they rent the units out. Looking at things and speaking from a person from both sides of the equation, right? You have a lot of people that know how to finesse a rental application now. So you got people that are renting $700,000-$800,000 condos for $2,500, $3,000, $3,500, $4,000 a month. And you'll look at the people that they rent to and be like, how the fuck? It ain't judging them, keeping it a buck. Like, how the hell can you afford to listen? People nowadays, the culture has shifted. Like, people can scam. They can scam they work history. They can scam they bank statements. They can scam. I'm in the crib all day. I'm trying to figure out how they're in the crib all day. How are you in the crib all day? How are you paying $4,000 a month? And it ain't judging. Like, I know what the hell I'm talking about. People scamming, man. So I get what you saying without you saying it, because I've dealt with it from both sides of the equation. I get it. It's a different landscape now on when the way you could screen a tenant back in the day. Like, you gotta really screen a tenant, because what they may be presenting to you may not be what it really is. And it used to didn't always be like that. Back in the day, you would get that shit far and few between, but now it's a whole different ball game. Give me a second. I gotta put the code in. Yeah, they made it harder for us to screen now. Yeah, it's tough now. It's tough now with all the scamming and shit that's going on, man. Like, I be forgetting the damn code to get in here, man. I don't be coming up here so long. It's crazy, man. Tweaking. Let me see. You said when damage is done, you know that's always been my concern, when damage is done. So if somebody damaged your shit with Section 8, obviously you got to fix it, but you can report it to Section 8, and then Section 8 will handle it. Depending on the severity of the situation, when they do the investigation, they'll determine if they're going to kick the person out or not. Like, if a person, because let's say you having an issue with a Section 8 tenant, and they purposely tear your shit up, like out of just spite, because you reporting them to Section 8 and they know they got to get out, they got to leave, they tear your shit up, they break your windows, they gouge your hardwood floors and shit like that, yeah, they'll definitely get kicked out. If it's some mistake type stuff, or just, some the kid I'm trying to think of a good example. Let's say the kid was playing ball in the house. Or, okay, here's a situation I had. A parent bought their kid a one of them motorized little scooters some Christmases ago, right? And the kid clearly didn't know how to ride it. It's something that should be rolled outside, but I guess because it was Christmas and it was cold, they put the thing together. The shorty jumped on the thing, hit the gas, didn't know how to stop, rolled right into the wall, crashed the wall, right? All right, obviously the patch job cost, but it was something that I made a decision to do. When I talked to the person, is this something that you want to pay to get fixed? All right, because obviously this is your fault, and then I don't have to report it. You cover the cost. Obviously, I'm finna send somebody in here to get it fixed right now, right? But you need to reimburse me, all right? If you reimburse me, then we ain't gotta go there. Now, if you don't give me my money back, then I gotta report it, right? Sure enough, the person didn't reimburse me. So I had to report it. And obviously, you got that kickback uh, from Section 8 at a later time. So, yeah, you can get a kickback. There's sometimes where you can just deal directly with the tenant yourself. But Section 8 is pretty good. And they treat you different in Section 8. When you go down to the Section 8 office, you'll see the tenants standing in a long line. They'll have like the tenants line and the owners. Like, you just be like, you an owner, they'll just point you directly to the front. You go up the stair. At least that's how it is here. Here, they treat owners like creme de la creme. You don't have to wait in the line with the tenants. They got a separate area for tenants and a separate area for owners. So if you talk to Section 8, you got all your documents and your receipts and shit like that, they'll kick you back your bread. I saw that same video. I saw that same video. I saw that video, Pippi. The dude was crying like a baby. All right, man, I know this car ain't finna start. Oh, man, the dude told me I couldn't. Didn't he tell me at the thing I couldn't jump no other vehicles? God damn. He said, don't jump nothing with this truck. Damn. Fuck, man. I don't know what else I'm on. He sure said, don't use the truck, don't jump nobody, don't change the battery, don't do nothing. Damn. Fuck it. That's next week anyway. So if I jump it now, it should be done reset by next week. You know what? I'm probably not gonna jump it. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till I take this truck back because I need the computer to cut on. So I just wait. I know it ain't gonna cut on though. Nope. Should I jump it or should I not? He said don't jump. Forget it. I'll just do it after I pass the emissions. Forget it. Make sure everything good. Check on this other one. Make sure everything Gucci. What's crazy on this one, I had just put brand new tires on this truck. Literally. And parked it. Shit crazy, bro. Brand new tires. I put brand new outers on this one too. Brand new outers on this one. Brand new. Both of them got brand new rear tires. So, we'll do that shit next week. We'll come out here and do it. Mike Morrow said, man, if you don't jump that goddamn thing, man, I'm not finna jump it. You must have just watched the live. You must have just started watching the live. The vehicle that I would use to jump it, I can't jump it with it right now because I got to take the emission test with this vehicle, and I can't jump the vehicle. The guy specifically said this truck hasn't been driven. The computer is not connecting. You got to drive it. Don't jump anything. Don't do this. Don't do that. So I can't jump the vehicle right now. I can, but I need the computer to reset. I'm gonna take care of this situation first. Listen, Mark got a lot of vehicles that don't drive, that he don't drive. All right, so shit, computers need to get recalibrated and all type of shit. All right, Mark got a lot of shit that you don't even know because I don't talk about it. All right, we're gonna deal with one thing at a time. One thing at a time. All right, so we're gonna start driving this thing so the computer can reset or recalibrate or whatever the hell the dude said when I was there. And then once we take care of that, then we'll bring this back up here. I tell you one thing, I'm not finna pull the big boy up here and jump it. I tell you that. I bet you won't see the big boy up here jumping that truck. I got another car that can't jump it because it's electric. Can't jump it with that one. Got a car that I wouldn't dare use to jump it. I got another car that I can't jump it. So what you want me to do? What you want me to do? All right. I'm selling one of them, Lou Jackson. I'm gonna sell one. I'm gonna sell one more, and then I'm gonna keep one. So I'll probably sell truck number 1. I'm gonna keep truck number 3. Truck number 1 got less miles on it. It got 218,000 miles on it. Truck 3 got 281. I'm gonna sell truck 1 because I like truck 3 better. Personally, I like truck 3 better, so I'm gonna sell 1. Stacy Courtney, what's up? All right, what time is it? It's 2:30 in Chicago. We'll go home, and guess I won't go to the gym today. Why I like truck 3 better? It's just personal preference. I'm not gonna sit up here and say, oh, it's a better truck. I think both of them are equally the same. I like truck 3 better because to me it rides better. I had a guy that worked for me. He truck 1 was his favorite truck. Truck 1 is better on fuel than truck 3. I can tell you that. I just like truck 3 better. To me, I feel like it drives better for me. Truck 1 has a softer ride. Truck 3 has more of a truck ride, and I like that. So yeah, I'm probably gonna sell truck 1 Lou Jackson. I got the pictures. I just need to post it. I'm gonna make sure I start it up though. I keep neglecting jumping that one and letting it run. When I go up there, I always start with 3 first. But I think really I need to switch the battery out in 1. So I don't even think I'm gonna attempt to jump it. I'm just gonna buy a new battery and go up there and just put a new battery in there and be done with it. because truck 1 was sitting longer than truck 3. Um, truck 1 has been sitting since end of summer 22, and then truck 3 I ran all the way until the end of 22. So why can't I jump it? I just came from the vehicle emission, right? Obviously I'm going to jump it with my truck, my pickup truck, but I just went out to the vehicle emission place, and since I don't drive my pickup truck, you wasn't on the live when I was out there. The people that was on the live heard the guy. He said, "You ain't drove this truck, have you?" I said, "No, I don't drive it." He was like, "You got to drive the truck for about a week in order for, I guess, the OBD to really fully kick in, because it hadn't kicked in." I haven't driven the truck probably since the last time you saw me driving the truck on this live, maybe about a month or so. So I literally just drove it today and the first time in a month. So when I went out there, the computer wasn't registering. So he said, "You got to drive this truck every day. You need to drive it for about a week and then bring it back." But part of, I guess the OBD is not jump starting anything else, and a few other things he told me not to do, so that when I brought it back out there, they could get a correct read on the system, on the computer, and not jumping something else was one of them. So I don't want to interfere with that, because I need to go ahead and get this emissions done so that I can go and buy my plate sticker. I got 2.5 months, but I don't like to wait to the last minute, so I want to get it done. So next week, when I bring this truck back out to the emission, after I drive it for the next 6 days every day, this will be what I'm going to drive. This will be my daily. I'll go out there, take the emissions, pass, right? Because I'm not going to fail, because the only way you can fail the emissions is if you got any lights on. You got to have a light on, like a check engine light or some type of light, right? All right, there's no lights on. It's just I haven't driven the vehicle, so the computer hadn't recalibrated, or whatever the word he said. When I do that, then I'll bring this truck back up here and jump it. I need information. Is it a box truck business good to get in? I need a person to help me out. It's my first business. If I start, just need to see if the investment is worth it. Stacey Courtney, all right, no problem. Just keep watching the channel. Go back and watch the old content. Start with the basic stuff. So videos that focus on more of the basic information, and then come into the live streams. Check the live streams out. Ask questions in the live stream. When you see the notification for the call-in show, hit the link for the call-in show, and then you'll come up, and then we'll do a one-on-one free coaching and free coaching call live. That's the only way I'm doing it. So that's the only way I'm doing it. You gotta hit the link and come in on the call-in shows for the free coaching. You can't skip the gym, Mark. You halfway through the year. No animal protein. Keep that momentum going. All right, man. You're right, man. I'll go to the gym. I try to go there 5 or 6 days a week. I took yesterday off. I went 6 days last week. I didn't go yesterday. So I was considering taking another day off, but I guess I'll go and do leg day today. What look almost new? The truck? I don't drive it. I literally don't drive it. I bought it brand new, and I don't drive it. Like, literally, the seats, everything is perfect in here. The seats, no wears in the seats. It's literally brand new. I bought the truck brand new in 2016. So I've had it 8 years, but as you can see, I don't. And as you can hear from the dude when I went to emission, I don't drive it. I literally bought it brand new, paid it off, and parked it. I got other cars, so You know, this is just a vehicle that I bought to serve a purpose, and you know, it serves its purpose in the wintertime, not in the spring and summer. And this winter, I really didn't drive it because I guess global warming. We didn't even get no snow in Chicago this winter, so I didn't even really drive it this winter. I didn't drive it, so. But yeah, it's well kept. Obviously, it's obvious it's well kept. So, nope, Jonathan. I didn't even look. I forgot to ask. When I had an opportunity to ask, I didn't. Yeah, we don't get. Where are you at? 2 for 1. Cause like even with us, we haven't even had a blizzard in 9 years. Last blizzard we had was 2015, and I showed that blizzard on my channel. Those pictures from when you saw me when that bobcat plowing my yard, that was 2015. That was the blizzard of 2015. We haven't had we didn't get no snow this past winter. So, Oregon, yeah. So I guess that's global warming. I see the water levels are getting higher and higher and higher. Lake Michigan is getting higher and higher and higher. Winters are getting warmer. And because winters are getting warmer, we're just not getting no snow. Like, we didn't get any snow. And I didn't know any better. I thought that the snowplow companies, I thought they took a loss this winter. Actually, they didn't. So I found out that the snowplow companies, they get paid a lump sum up front, and then no matter how much it snows, unless it's like something serious like a blizzard, they just keep coming back, right? So really the businesses took a loss because the money that they spent for the season for plowing, it pretty much just went in the snowplow companies' pockets because they never had to get their lots plowed this winter. They didn't have any snow. So we had our first snowstorm in 5 years here in Baltimore this year. Oh wow. You know, I was hoping for a snowstorm this year. I wanted a snowstorm. Like a blizzard, you know, I know a lot of people don't like blizzards, but shit. I wanted a nice little snowstorm, nice little 2 feet, 3 feet of snow. But we ain't got it. We ain't had it since 2015, so. You said they keep getting snow in Texas. Yeah, that is crazy. The places where you expect a lot of snow, like Oregon, Chicago, we ain't getting it. And then Texas is getting it. Weird. The crypto market is red, so I purchased some more of one of our RWA plays. Okay. Yeah, good. I've just been dollar cost averaging. I see that NVIDIA. And that's what I was saying last night. Like, after I came to my senses, I'm just like, man, I don't know. And sure enough, it didn't run like what I thought it was going to run when I came to my senses. It's up, but I think dollar cost averaging into NVIDIA, I think that's the way to go. Like, I did what I said I was going to do, right? I got those 100 shares, and I'm just going to dollar cost average the rest, up to $200 a day. Then when we go beyond $200, then we'll just margin out the difference and go from there. Blizzards here saves lives in the real. Nobody can go outside. You know what? Yeah, I believe a blizzard here would save lives too. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't had none. We ain't had none since 2015. So I'm curious to see how this summer gonna be as far as the weather. Is it gonna be really, really hot? Is it gonna be mild? Kind of curious. All right, Stacy. All right, so man, I ain't kicked it with y'all for a couple of hours, man. I might. Melson said the year of my truck or the year of the box trucks? Year of my pickup or the year of the box trucks? Funds manipulating the markets like crazy. Probably always been that way. Yeah, they always manipulate the market. Yeah, the institutions always are going to manipulate the market. That's why dollar cost averaging is the best way to go, you know. So I don't know if this bull run in the crypto market is going to be like previous bull runs. At first it seemed like it was going to be a super cycle. Now it seems like it's going to be a normal cycle. But if you in early enough, then you're going to make money hand over fist. And when I say early enough, the people that are getting in now, they ain't seen money. The people that's been in from when I got in, we already up a shit ton of money. And depending on how much you invested, anywhere from 5 to 6 figures, right? So, and there's still plenty more bull run left, right? Because retail hasn't even came in yet, right? We this is pretty much for the most part that's been pumping this bull run is institutional dollars. Once retail comes in, the people that were in early with me, shit, we gone. We already gone. We just waiting for retail to come in, and then we really out of here. So, but yeah, I mean, institutions have always manipulated markets. They control the market. They got the capital to push it. They got the capital to tank it. So that's why it's best to not chase nothing and just dollar cost average in and be patient. And know when to exit, know when to take your profits, know when to take your gains and get out and move on to something else. You'll never be able to time the market. You'll never be able to time the top. Never. I've had one play where I timed it at the top, and I wasn't even trying to time it at the top. I just wanted to get out at that particular time, and that was Hex. I exited Hex at 49 cents. It topped out at 50 cents like a few minutes when I got out at 49 cents, and it started to retrace, and it never went back up. I think Hex right now is under a penny. Hex is under a penny, right? I got out at the top, 49 cents. Here's the thing. I expected it to go to $1. I really thought it was going to go to $1. But my exit, my goal was to exit halfway there, right? Went halfway there itself. And it ain't been nowhere near back there since. And that was September of 21. September 21. So, yup. So, box trucks is 05s. Oh, and check this out too. I meant to mention it earlier. I got a bunch of brand new tents. I got brand new tables. So anybody in Chicago, I got a bunch of shit that I just got stored that I need to get rid of. I sold pretty much a lot of all the furniture that I had in the warehouse. I got rid of that. years ago. But I got a bunch of tents. So we had a contract in 2020 for when COVID first hit. And this is a good example of why your business should have a footprint. I had a company call me during COVID, and they went to contract. Well, they did contract us to build tents. So they contracted my company to build tents. Believe it or not, a lot of companies that you wouldn't think would contact a moving company would contact a moving company. So they contacted me in 2020 to build tents in a bunch of different locations for COVID testing throughout the city. And they shipped me all these tents and tables and just a bunch of shit that goes along with that the infrastructure of what those COVID tents used to be like if y'all had them in y'all market. But they sent me more than what was required once we built all the tents, and we made a lot of money off building tents. So I still got a bunch of tents. I got a bunch of like tables. I got the heaters for some of the tents, and this is brand new in a box. I was going to donate them to some churches, but I ended up just never getting around to it. But I want to get that stuff out of my mom's garage, because I need to make some space, because I'm thinking about putting another vehicle in there. Her truck is taking up the other side of the garage. So anybody in Chicagoland area that want a tent, a brand new tent in a box, picnic table, and just some other shit that I got brand new from that COVID contract I had in 2020. I'm looking to get rid of all that shit. I don't want no money from it. I just want to get rid of the shit. So if you're in Chicago, you want a tent, brand new in the box. I don't know the measurements on it. I should have took pictures of those tents. They're pretty big though, because the people was coming in those tents and the nurses was, giving them the COVID shots and shit like that. So yeah, that's low mileage for 05. No rebuild. No rebuild. And the mileage was lower than that when I bought it. You figured probably the mileage was about 150, 160 or some shit like that in truck one. I mean, I ran local, so my trucks didn't go OTR. My trucks ran local. So, and then when you figure some years down the line, when I started warehousing, when I started cross docking, that was even less miles, because the middle mile trucks was dropping off the freight to my warehouse, and then my trucks were running it the final mile. So my trucks at that point, depending on the route, the ones that was local weren't even doing 50. So yeah, that's why my trucks weren't even doing 50 miles a day. No rebuild, nah. Yeah, box truck one. It's been a hell of a ride. Yeah, I was freezing because I got a phone call. Oh, man. I'm not freezing no more, am I? Maybe last mile is the way. It can be the way. I mean, here's the thing. What works for some ain't going to work for others. And that's just the truth. I mean, that's just the simplest way to put it. Some people will make one lane look worse than the other. Me, I try to give people the honest to God truth from my perspective on each lane. You know, OTR may work for this person because final mile may not be available in their market because they live in a small market, right? That could be one reason. I also do comparisons on, you know, which lanes pay what. Obviously, some things are going to pay more than others. You know, but you know what works for some ain't gonna work for others. I don't think OTR would have worked for me if I would have did OTR. I took advantage of my market and being in a big market, being in Chicago. You know, local worked for me. May not work for the next person. Uh, so you just gotta know what works in your market and go with that. So can't really knock a person if they want to do Amazon or knock a person if they want to do moving. You know, it's all what works for you. What am I doing? I walked to another car. I just got out this car. Go upstairs. You said, yeah, I don't really have the population density. You're in Oregon? Well, yeah, if you don't have the population density, then yeah, probably Final Mile may not be the best fit for you because you may not have, like you said, the population density for that opportunity. I don't know if you're in the major city in that area, but if not, you know, Detroit is good for local. Going up? Yes. All right.
Excuse me, are you June's brother by any chance?
Whose brother?
June?
Nah.
Okay.
All right, take it easy.
Take care.
All right.
Take care.
Yep. Moving company hustle. What up? What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the dealio? All right, man. All right, man. I'm in the crib. I kicked it with y'all for a minute today. I may do a live stream later on. But right now, I'm finna get me something to eat, man. I'm starving. Trying to hit that 100K. You halfway there? You close to halfway there yet? Say you want to see some content, make a few bucks. I hear that. I hear that. I hear that. Oh, 68K? Man, you 32,000 away. And it ain't even halfway there. So you over 50% there, and we ain't even halfway through the month yet. So yeah, you definitely gonna hit it. You definitely gonna hit it probably before the end of the month. That if you ain't hit it by the 25th, you'll definitely hit it be sometime between the 25th and the 30th. You'll definitely hit it sometime between the 25th and the 30th. How long did it take you to get your box truck business up and running? See the way I would answer that question because I started. Um, so I started just hustling off of Craigslist. So let's say legally from me hustling out of my pickup truck to actually from hustling out of my pickup truck to renting trucks to actually getting licensed. I didn't actually get licensed until 2013. So 3 years of hustling under the table until I actually went out and got the license. And so the moving license and then the public carrier license, the Illinois Commerce Commission's license for the final mile delivery. So 3 years. I'm finna go to the gym, man. I'm going to the gym. I'm just want to throw something in my stomach. Really, I should just go work out on an empty stomach. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Then come back home and cook. So 3 years till I got actually licensed, but I showed a few weeks ago I was making over 100 and such. I was making a, I don't want to say it, but I was making I don't want to say it. Before I got the license, I was up there in the six figures. I was up there in the six figures. I was doing, and this is what I was saying. People were saying you can't do $100,000 a month. You definitely can because back in 2012, I still got these books. I took these out one of my old safes at my mom's crib, and I brought them here to do a live stream. I haven't taken them back yet, but here is a book from Under the Table. This is 2012, and in 2012, where we weren't charging what we would be charging now, I was doing $60-some thousand a month under the table, and it's right here. So if you see Mark's gross for this month, 61,000. All right, and this is 2012. All right, and this was just how I would keep my books when I was under the table. You know, I would staple all my receipts to the back, and this is what we were making. So I would put, the job, the truck, and I didn't own these trucks. I was renting trucks at the time. I was renting 3 trucks at the time. Um, the hours, what the job paid, who was on the job. I would do my deductions, payroll, what we used in fuel. All right, if we used fuel, obviously we stapled it to the back, and what the truck totaled out, what that truck totaled out, payroll, and then this is what I took home. And I wasn't on either one of these trucks. This truck one was Dre and Sean and Little Mike. See, we had Man working for us. We had Little Mike working for us. So truck one did 4 moves that day. And truck 2 did 3. And even with truck 2 doing 1 less job, it made more money. 2 hours, 2.25, 2.75, 2.25. Because we weren't charging. So this is 2012, right? So back in 2012, I was under the table. I wasn't even charging a truck fee. I was just charging an hourly rate. So I was charging $100 an hour. This was a $200 cash, 227 credit, 2.25, 2.75, $218 credit, 170 cash. This is how cheap it was, which was a lot of money back then, but you'll never get a 2.7-hour move in today's time for $218. This move is going to cost you on the low-Z about $500. But at the end of the day, after everything was said and done, I still walked away with $1,100 to my pocket. This is under the table. This is under the table the next day, 6/12, 6/29/12. I ran 3 trucks this day. This is still under the table. So after all said and done, payroll, gas, this is what Mark walked away. next day, 6:30, we ran 3 trucks. Truck 1 grossed 1,100. Truck 2 grossed 902. Truck 3 grossed 985. So the payroll, fuel, payroll. At the end of the day, Mark walked away with $1,850 to my pocket. Now, mind you, I wasn't on none of these trucks. I'm not on none of these trucks. I'm not on the truck at all. Not on these trucks. So this day, I'm just probably be the last day I show because I'm gonna get out of here. July 1st, I ran 3 trucks. Still 2012. I'm just going days in sequence, just so y'all can understand. These jobs would be paying a lot more in today's time. So this was $100 an hour. Obviously, if it was 4.5 hours, $450 cash, there was no truck fee. I wasn't even charging a truck fee back then. I wasn't even charging a truck fee. All right. So this truck grossed 8,580, 810. After everything all said and done, I walked away with 1,300. So in these past 3 days, that day 13, 1850, 1283, 1107. You talking about 1, 2? I'm just counting the single digits. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's $4,000 in 4 days. 13, 8. That's 8, 4, 48, 51, 53, 54, 7, 8. That's like $5,600, $5,700. 2 for 1 says looking over those notebooks has got to give you the itch. No, it don't. Because this is what I was making on the table. The money that I was making once I got licensed and ramped up and I was running 15 trucks, I'm making $100,000 a month. So, I'm making $100,000 a month. I'm making 9,000 gross a day. I'm sorry, not 9,000 gross a day. I'm making 900 net a day with Office Depot, right? Because that contract is paying me 300 times 9 trucks, right? So that's 2,700 gross, and we are taking a third of that. So I'm netting 900 a day just off that one contract. I'm netting another 1,500 off of IKEA. The moving trucks are doing at that time $2,000 on average a day per truck because now we running legally, we running licensed, so we charging more money. Things I'm making $10,000+ a day, $100,000+ a month. So even when I'm looking at these books from my humble beginnings of starting from that Chevy Avalanche to going to renting 3 Penske trucks and getting some guys from the neighborhood and giving them the opportunity at this particular time and paying them decent so to get them off the street, right? And I'm able to sit at home and build a company all while making this type of money that people would be happy to make this type of money today. You know what I'm saying? From not doing nothing, just building a business, then yeah. But that itch, nah, because over time, you grow and you accelerate. So where that might have been something to me at that point, once I got to the next level, had the warehouse, was making $100,000+ a month, then I was at that level and I don't have the itch to go back to that. Why? Because I graduated from there, because over that course of time, I learned money was a tool, and I learned how to have my money work for me instead of working for money, right? So now my money works for me. And guess what? You got days where, at the end of the day, let's say back in these days where I would make $1,800, take home $1,300 after all said and done. But then you have a day like this where I run 2 trucks and it'll be a slower day, but I still make $600. You know what I'm saying? Or this day where after everything was said and done, I make 790. Obviously, the 4th of July was a holiday. We were closed. So, you know what I'm saying? So, and these trucks back then, these trucks weren't shit, but $250 a week to rent. It's nothing. So that's why when I listen to people talk and I hear the chitter chatter and people wonder why Mark can sit in the house and don't do nothing, because Mark been getting them a lot of money for a very long time. Mark is not as young as he looks. Mark has been out here getting to it before the warehouse, before all the trucks. I was getting it under the table. You see what I'm saying? So you can do it. When I hear people talk, like I was talking to Kevin the other day, like I don't, and I was light on Kevin. I was light on Kevin the other day, because I could tell by looking in his face, he was going through something. That person that was getting it wasn't turning nothing down. I wasn't turning nothing down. I wasn't saying no to nothing. I'm going and getting all of it. And when one of those crews would come in and I would get a free truck, if it was one of them end of the month weeks where I had people that was calling throughout the day, yo, my movers didn't show up. Can y'all come move me? I need to be out. I would call all my crews. Look, who want to work some extra hours late tonight? I'll pay you triple. Man, I gather up me a crew, and then I would come out and get on the truck, and then we'd start doing moves from 8 to 2, 3 in the morning. Listen, it's a lot of shit. Like, I could make content on my journey for years. There's a lot of shit that I haven't talked about. As y'all can see, the people that have been following me for 2 years, it's a reason why I don't divulge everything. I could have literally showed y'all my warehouse, the pictures of all my trucks and shit. I could have showed you that 2 years ago when Buddy ass was saying I never owned trucks and this and that. Why he don't show no receipts and that. But I do shit a certain way on purpose so that I can stretch out the content over a period of time. If I focus on telling y'all every single thing in a condensed format, I'm gonna run out of shit to talk about. Right. So, it's a lot of shit that I haven't even touched on. I actually walked y'all to the yard today. It didn't make sense for me go to the yard and visit the yard and do that type of content until I actually showed y'all what it was like when I was up and operational, right? It's an order of operation that I do things by, right? And I think people need to structure their business by order of operation. The way I structure content is the way, and I don't get paid for this content. I don't get paid because I like to play. I like to score my content. I'm playing commercial music. I'm getting all type of copyright strikes and shit like that. So none of my content is monetized, man. They ain't copyright strike me to death. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting the copyright claims while I'm streaming live from the music that I came in on my intro, right? So the way I format my content is almost like a storyline because I want you to kind of like, when I explain my journey, I kind of want to set it up the way I went about it. So that's why today it made sense to go up to the yard and do that, because I showed y'all what it was like when I was up and operational. But everything that I do, even back then, was structured the correct way. And I worked, man. I worked. I just don't know what other way to say it. So like when I was saying with Kevin, like, man, it's too many hours in a day. If you in a situation where you kind of messed up and life is kicking you in the ass and it's 16 more hours left and you at home and you talking about you got to get some sleep. Listen, if I don't got nothing, anything beats a blank. If I'm working a little bit harder for what I feel like, I feel like this is too much work for what I'm getting paid. But if I don't have anything, then that's what I have to do at that particular time until something else better comes along. Anything beats a blank. You and Kev are built different, but yeah, he could do better. My whole thing with Kev, and I don't know if he's watching, and I'm gonna talk to him the next time, is y'all seen, y'all know what the character that I have. Listen, I don't have to talk about it, but you know, if you come to me and you want to win, and and this is with anybody, the reason why I feel like I'm not going to talk shit if I haven't done it, right? I'm not going to, when I get in my little cocky shit and I be talking my little shit, I can talk it because I can back it up, right? Uh, and ultimately, with people who watch, I want them to excel. And the only way you're going to excel, especially when you starting off, is you got to put the work in. There's no way around it. It gets easy and it gets greater later, right? But if you starting from the beginning, that's the toughest time. When you have resources at bay, then that shit ain't nothing. You got resources, and you can look at resources from different facets. You can look at resources as money. You can look at resources as capital. I mean, as relationships, right? You build relationships over a course of time where people that you might not have known prior, as you scale and tenure in your business, you gain relationships. Now you can make phone calls for favors, and people can pull you in certain situations and certain things that you may not have been able to get pulled into earlier in your early in your tenure because you didn't have those relationships. Obviously, capital is a big resource that you can use because money can put you in a lot of rooms, and money can make a lot of problems go away. You know, but that takes time. It takes time, and you got to put the work in to even get those things. So, to take care of home and the wife, and I get that, Rich Jew. I'm not gonna read it, but I'm not gonna read it out loud, but I see it. But at the end of the day, you know, here's the thing. I've done things in the past that I felt was not worth what I or we were getting paid to do it. But here's the thing. I looked at it. Anything beat a blank at that time. As long as we weren't doing it at a loss, it might not have been the amount of profit, but it was something more than what was had prior to doing it, right? In order to turning stuff down is a luxury. You have to be in a position where you can afford to turn shit down. If you're not in a position where you can afford to turn shit down, then anything beats a blank. Anything beats a blank. If I'm pot piss poor and I don't got shit, and somebody want me to come, let's say, mop their whole 2,200 square feet home for $5, and I'm piss pot poor, and they want me to mop a 2,200 square foot place for $5, me, piss pot poor, probably gonna go mop it, right? Because with that $5, I can go to the local corner store. I can probably get a loaf of bread. I can probably get some cheap, lunch meat, and maybe a bottle of water. I could thug it out for $5. Now I got something in my stomach, and now I can look for the next person to screw me over, but I gotta accept it because I ain't got shit. I don't, a lot of people don't know. I know what it's like to be poor. You know what I'm saying? And when I say poor, poor, not like we came up, like we never went without nothing, right? Because mama went and made sure she went to work and did what she needed to do so me and my brother could go with the basic things, right? But we were poor, right? So coming from a place where you know what it's like to be poor, and sometimes have to go without not the necessities, right? But things you may see other people have that you can't get. And even when you come of age where you out in the world and you trying to figure things out uh uh for yourself as a young adult, you really know what it's like now to not have nothing and to have to find your way and navigate your way through to figure out ways to make money so that you can get the things that you need and that you want. Um, and I just feel like walking away from something that's going to put money in your pocket, regardless of and I get everybody feel like they worth something, but if you get to a point in your life, or you're at a point in your life where, you have nothing, it's like, and something's been presented to you, sometimes you got to take it until something else better come along. And I like I always say, anything be the blank, anything be the blank. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Well, I don't know. Only thing I can give people is the gems and the jewels and the education based on my experience. You know what I'm saying? My experience. Um, and I can give people everything they need to know from the educational and the experience standpoint, but I can't go out and do the physical work for you, and I'm not going to do it. You know why? Because as y'all can see, I've did it. I've did it. I've did it. I did it. I know what it's like to move people. I know what it's like to deliver furniture. I know what it's like to do it on an easy day. I know what it's like to do it on a hard day. My body will explain it to you. My shoulder will explain it to you. My right hip will explain it to you. My knees will explain it to you. My lower back can explain it to you. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna go out and do the work for you. I can give you all the jewels and the education, but I can't go out and actually do the work. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. You're not gonna get it. They make fun of me on the other channel. Oh, he in the house, he ain't outside. But you know what? This dude is just in the house that ain't outside is living more comfortable than the channel and the guy that y'all talking about that's still outside. To live in the house and live like how I live, that means there's some money somewhere. It's some money somewhere. All right. And in order to 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 acquire what's needed to maintain a comfortable living, right? A comfortable living. When I say comfortable, comfortable living as far as, your setting, right? And still to be able to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them, right? There has to be work involved at some point to you to get to the point where you know how to make money work for you. All these years, all these years, these early months, when I was under the table and I was grinding, putting all this shit in, but and this ain't all of them. This ain't all of them. I just brought a few out to safe from mama's crib to just have here when I need to just hit certain points on some of these live streams. This was years of grinding and hard work to get to the next level. The next level was years of grinding and hard work to get to the next level. It's always hard work. It's always hard work. I don't get, what I'm saying? And you talking to a person who's in the crib. I'm in a big market. I got a decent sized phone. I run into subscribers all the time. Fancy restaurants, all types of places, nightclubs, and they come back on the channel. Yeah, I saw Mark here. Yeah, Mark. Yeah. So it ain't no fluff, right? This is years of hard work. This shit didn't happen overnight. But I tell you one thing, Mark could make one bad business decision. I could make one bad business decision and fuck up everything, right? And if that happens, I don't think it'll happen, but you never know what might happen. I could make a bad. It was a guy on the live stream last night talking about he lost everything in 2 marriages and shit. Mark could get married and marry the wrong person. The same shit could happen. I don't know. It could happen. How it would happen, I can't tell you, but you can't cross out that option. If I lose everything that I've gained over the years, trust me, I wouldn't be too good because I was at a certain point at some point. I wouldn't be too good to lace them boots back on and get out here and do what I needed to do. I would shovel shit out the alley if I had to. Listen. I would shovel your shit, your feces. And I know this is graphic, but I'm just need you to understand something. If I lost everything, I didn't have a pot to piss in, nor a window to throw it out, I would shovel your feces out of your alley if you paid me to do it. If that's what I needed to do, I would rather do that so I can go get me some bologna, some fucking bread, and a bottle of water so that I could put something in my stomach so I can go look for the next hustle so I can go out and continue to do what I need to do. And I would be back where I was, right? Because anything would be the blank when you ain't got shit. So, and that's my spiel. All my direct booking customers I come from gig out. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet to get the bag. 22% off my direct customers is 8 days or 4 days of work, 2 weekends. That's it. I've lived what you're saying, but I've never made that kind of bad transportation. Boy says 100. What's going on? You right though, Mark? Because if I'm popped, I need everything moving out here. You gotta have it all. You gotta have it all. Listen. I'm not walking away from nothing. If it's at a profit, not at a loss. If it's at a profit, even if the profit is small, and I'm like, yo, I feel like this job should pay more, or I feel like I'm worth more. If motherfucker ain't offering me shit, if another motherfucker ain't offering me shit, and it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I've been looking for opportunities throughout the day, and we halfway through the day already, and I know my stomach growling, and I need to hustle up enough money for whatever it is, no matter, depending on the situation. Let's say I'm out here homeless and hungry. I know I gotta hustle up enough money to eat, and I need to hustle up enough money so we can go get me one of them little motel rooms that's probably bed bug infested or whatever. Whatever I got to do to get to whatever it is that I need to get to so that I can get through that day, so I can get to another day, so that I can have the health and the strength and an adequate amount of sleep so I can get to the next day and have the strength, right? That I can do the same thing and continue to pray so the good Lord going to bless me. I'm going to be back in the same position that I was once in before. Not turning shit down. I got to this point now by not turning shit down. I was doing what motherfuckers didn't want to do. Motherfuckers didn't want to do the shit that I was doing. And I undercut motherfuckers. I was undercutting motherfuckers. I wasn't even charging a truck fee. I wasn't charging no truck fee here. This is how we was booking all these damn jobs. This is 6 moves. This is 7 moves in one day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 9 moves in one day. Listen, I'm not turning shit away. Nothing. I need it all. I need it all. I need it all. Sorry, I need it all. So. But yeah, man, I might jump on a live stream a little later, man. I'm finna go to the gym, man, and get this workout in, man. I appreciate everybody for just kicking it with me, going to the vehicle emissions place, going to the yard, and wherever else we went today on this journey. All right? You say made up the majority. What demographic would you say made up the majority of your customers? White. White. I've talked about it before. Watch the video I did a few weeks ago when some of my fleet I would wrap, right? And some of them I would just leave all white, right? Because some contracts required an all white van. And I never even showed, I don't even think I showed, well, y'all saw some of the moving trucks in the back, right? But that's gonna be content for another day. I focus more on the trucking side of the business. But if you looked at that live stream I did from a few weeks ago, the montage, one of my vans I wrapped with an image on of a white man. And I talked about it in the thing because I got a lot of flack from my employees and shit like that. Like, I mean, it's a black-owned company. Why would you put a white guy on your vehicle? And I talked about how one black customer wanted to talk to me once he realized that the company was black-owned to tell me that I got it. You one of the only people that I've came across that actually get it. My customers, but 90% of them were white. And the rest were probably a mixture of Indians, Asians, and others. then probably less than a percentage was black. Um, I understand the demographic that paid. I understand the demographic that looked for moving. A lot of these other demographics would, do it themselves, or, do a moving party, gather their friends and do it. And then a lot of the contract work that we did on the trucking side, if it didn't go to businesses and stuff like that, if it went to residents, uh, would be, Caucasian people. Um, yeah, so yeah, most of my clientele was Caucasian, and that's why I marketed my business to what the major demographic who sourced our services were. And listen, man, yeah. So older, younger, middle. That's a good question. That's a good question. So when I first started moving, when I was under the table, obviously, my price point attracted a younger yuppie demographic, a demographic that was maybe fresh out of college. Yuppie, young urban professionals, what yuppie stands for. Um, Hand-me-down furniture from mom and dad, first apartment, so it didn't matter if we bumped it or scratched it or things like that. They just didn't have the money to pay what, let's say, a 2 men in a truck would charge, right? So when I was under the table, my price point attracted a younger, uh, inner city yuppie demographic, right? As I as I scaled and I got licensed, obviously my price point adjusted to, you know, the responsibilities and the financial requirements of a licensed business, and I saw my demographic change, right? I'm speaking with moving because on the trucking side, that's something that I'll touch on it briefly before I get out here. I saw the demographic change. It went to a more slightly more tenured professional, right? Person who's been on their job maybe 5 to 10 years, and it was obvious because we would literally get booked to move those people from what our previous clientele would consist of. We're moving them up like the Jefferson. So we're moving these people out of their first apartment into a more luxury apartment because they've been on their job 5 or 6 or 7 years. They're making a little bit of money now. So now they ain't gotta pay $700-800 a month. Let's say at that time, now they can afford 1300-1400. So we moving someone from, let's say, Andersonville up north to maybe a convertible 1 bedroom downtown Chicago. So they went from paying $600 or $700 to $1400, right? So that's where I saw, and then that obviously as I um, scaled and moving, and then I started taking on the bigger jobs with the 26 footers. Then obviously we're moving more senior citizens or older people. We're moving families now. We're out in the suburbs. We're moving up more affluent people. We're moving mansions now. We have, we're dealing with customers with sub-zero refrigerators. I talked about a customer we had that had like a $20,000-$30,000 Ralph Lauren armoire that he was very uh, um, typical about. Um, we're getting commercial jobs now. So as I became more tenured in the business, you saw my clientele scale along with my experience and my tenure, right? We became too expensive for the consumer that we started with initially because the fees that were associated with a licensed company, we weren't adding these fees. So a yuppie that is robbing Peter to pay Paul, they can afford to pay. When I was in the pickup truck, $30 an hour. When I was renting a box truck, $75 an hour, 2 hour minimum, no truck fee. They couldn't afford to pay 115 an hour, 2 hour minimum, truck fee, 20%, and plus material cost. They couldn't pay that. We had some customers that started with us back then that grew as we grew. You know what I'm saying? And those customers were with me from the very beginning to my very end. I got customers that we moved in 2020, 2021, 2019 that we moved into maybe a 3-bedroom apartment or a house that are still emailing me today. Hey, Mark, we moved us in 2019. We just had another baby. We need another house. We just closed on another house. We need you to come move us. And then I hit them back with the email. Hey, thanks for all the memories, to all the years, but I retired in 2022, right? So I'm still getting requests to this day, daily, right? But yeah, so yeah, the demographics changed as the business grew, and we outgrew some people, right, along the way, and that's just business. Now on the final mile side of things, it was mostly affluent people, um, and if they weren't affluent, they were established people, I should say, not really on the yuppie side or the young urban professional, more of the established to affluent category, especially dealing with some of the contracts that we were dealing with. Even when we were doing Bye Bye Baby for Select, anybody that's going to spend 12, 13, 14, $1,500 on a baby crib. My bad. Phone died and and died at the same time. So I'm back. Um, so yeah, well, a lot of our contract customers that we would deliver to for a lot of our contracts, from when we were running through the 3PLs until I started cross dock and became my own 3PL, mostly established people to affluent people. Um, and if they weren't established to affluent people that were retail customers, then it was obviously businesses or schools or hospitals and things of that nature. Word of mouth played a big factor in the moving business. 40-50% of my business, after, let's say, 4 or 5 years in business, was referrals. The thing with moving, well, I can speak for me in this market, is once a person finds a good mover, they stick to them. And when people are moving, the people that like you, they'll refer you quick, right? Because one thing about moving, people want their stuff to arrive the same way you took it out, right? So once they find a mover, they're gonna stick with you. And when they stick with you, they're gonna pay. If you charge X amount the previous year, 2 years ago when they moved you, they're gonna pay the upcharge this year. They rather pay you than to take chances and go through the jitters and the nervousness of new movers, not knowing who they are, not knowing where they come from, not knowing their background, not knowing if they thieves, not knowing if they sketchy, not knowing if they're qualified, not knowing if they're skilled, not knowing if they're experienced, if their stuff is going to arrive to point B the same way it came out point A. Moving is very, very stressful to customers. I've done it for so many years, and customers will be nervous when you come in, but if you know what you're doing after watching your crew for 15, 20 minutes, if you got some killers that's working for you, some solid, experienced guys, that nervousness starts to dwindle away. By lunchtime, hey man, y'all hungry? We finna order Jimmy John's. We finna order pizza. Don't worry about the clock. Don't worry. Yeah, keep us on the clock. No, y'all ain't gotta eat and move stuff and grab a slice and eat and keep moving. No, stop. Don't worry. Keep the clock running. Stop. There's some paper plates over there. There's some sodas over there. You guys haven't stopped for the last 3, 4 hours, and they'll take care of you. This is the type of customer base that that I eventually got to. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, word of mouth, and word of mouth is the best. The reason why, once you build a clientele where you can book your trucks out with word of mouth and referrals, that's less money you got to spend on advertising dollars. That's less advertising dollars that you got to spend. You have to be a good judge of character to have that kind of employee. So the way I got around never having theft or things like that, Obviously, claims as far as damage, that's just inevitable when you're in final mile and moving. But I've never had a theft, right? I've had movers actually find guns, find wads of cash, flip over mattresses, hundreds of dollars of bills, dresser drawers with manila envelopes full of money and shit like that. And they was just handed to the customer. Sometimes the customers would just thank them. Sometimes the customers would reach in the envelope and pass out $100 bills because they realized if they didn't turn it in, this was $30,000 or $50,000 that they would have never seen again. They'll just go, oh my God, here's 200-300 a piece, and then they'll call the company, call the office, and give a testimony on how these guys found an envelope with 100 grand in it, and they actually gave it into them. So I can tell you stories for days about just a lot of different things that I've witnessed and come across. But the way I was able to get by without having theft is I rarely hired walk-ons. I rarely hired people that I didn't know, right? So basically, if I got 20, 25 people working for me, back then, there was no gig economy. You had to work to eat. You had to work. So these guys, my guys would always be like, Mark, I got somebody want to work. I got somebody want to work. Mark, I got somebody that's about to get out. He need work. All right, tell him come holler at me. Tell him to come to the office. They come to the office and vet him out. Listen, you brought him on, so I'm holding you responsible. This your man. I already know. When a person refers somebody from within, they understand that I'm looking at them. You brought this Mog in here. So if he do something, I'm going to hold him accountable. I'm going to also hold you accountable. And if you watch some of the episodes with some past employees like Rob, he'll come on and he'll say, man, one thing about Mark, I'm going to tell you about Mark is you piss Mark off, Mark going to play with your money. I didn't have no problem fucking around and playing with a person's money. This is how I punish people. And yes, I wouldn't suggest a person play with a person's money, especially if you had some of the people that work for me, unless you plugged and you can get away with that, right? But it was a certain way I had to run my company. I had to rule with an iron fist, and I would fuck with people's money, and I wouldn't cheat them or not pay them. What I would do is, you fuck up, you act a goddamn fool, you do something, I'm going to give you some time off to think about it. It might be a couple days, it might be a week, right? Because I understand that work is your livelihood, but if you don't want to come do what's best for you, which is ultimately best for the company and best for me, right? And you want to go out here and do goofy shit, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to fire you, right? I'm not going to fire you because you ain't a thief. You just did something stupid, right? I'm going to give you some time off to think about it. And when I feel like I'm ready for you to come back, I'll let you come back. So, I always found out very early that bringing people in from people that were already in was the best way to prevent a lot of what you would expect from most moving companies, which is theft, right? Because it's like you obviously as a company are doing your vetting and your policing, but the person that brought them in is also doing their vetting and policing for you because they know that they're responsible for the person that they brought in, and I would hold them accountable for that shit. So you clip that, but that's the hunger of a winner. I need to get off my high horse. Yeah, so when I said that, this is something I've been saying for years. So I didn't make that shit up right now just so it could sound cool. Listen, if I ever get into a situation where I'm that fucked up and a motherfucker gonna pay me to do that shit, as long as I got some gloves and some boots and the proper shit and the face mask and I'm getting paid to do it, and that's the only opportunity that's paying me, man, these motherfuckers is out here that's shoveling horse manure every day. When the city, Chicago police, the Mountie police is walking up and down the street in the summertime, in the wintertime, on the Chicago police horses and shit like that, them horses don't go to a stall. Them horses just shit wherever the fuck they at. They get shit on Michigan Avenue, State Street, wherever they at. Somebody has to come and shovel that shit. Somebody's coming with a shovel, picking up all that horse manure, and they're getting paid exceptionally well to do it, right? If I'm in a situation where I ain't got nothing and that situation gets presented to me, even if it gets presented to me at a fraction of the cost of what I think it should pay or what I'm worth, if it's profitable and I have nothing else going for me that day and I have to eat, then I'm going to do that. All right. And I think that's what a lot of people need to put their mind frame. And I'm glad that you you saw that and it touched you, because that's why I want people to understand that in order to get to the level of success that a lot of people want to get to, you gotta have that mind frame. Some people would be on these high horses and shit, and they thinking shit just gonna fall into their lap. Shit ain't gonna fall into your lap. You gotta go out here and get it, because I'm gonna tell you why it's not gonna fall into your lap. The same shit that you want to get, that you waiting to fall in your lap, it's somebody else out there that's thinking totally different from you, that's actually going out there and getting it. So while they're out there getting it, and while you're waiting, you're not going to get it, because it's not going to fall, because they're out there getting it. And that's just the bottom line, man. That's the bottom line. That's just what it is. So even getting people to disrespect other people's stuff. So that goes back to what I say. Listen, if you already got a solid crew that's already in here, that you've trained, that is working to your standards, they understand that their job is on the line if they bring some retard in on your company. Mark is the type of guy, and I've had people come up that work for me and say, yo, I'm going to hold you accountable. You brought this Mog in here. He went out and did this goofy shit, so how y'all want to do it? Is he gonna pay for it? Is you gonna pay for it? Are both of y'all gonna pay? I know you was on a whole separate truck, but you brought him in here. You know this man was goofy. You knew he was a goofy. I'm not paying for it. Somebody has to pay for it. So people would be very cautious on who they refer. They would only refer people that they felt like that were, qualified to do the work. Shout out to Money Straight for joining the members only. Yeah, and so you do have to be a good judge of character. I think I am a good judge of character. That's something that you acquire and obtain just as you get older, right? The more you get wiser, the more you're able to read a person's character. You can get fooled from time to time. Some people will portray themselves to be something that they not, you know what I'm saying? Or some people will, put on the front to get, they foot in the door, right? But it shouldn't be hard for you to catch on after that, you might have been taken on a ride, right? So, being a good judge of character is something that's kind of instilled in you, but it's also something that you kind of grow to acquire and learn, how to read people as well. My neighbor hired a mover. They were okay dudes, but they didn't give a F when they got the job done. And that's a lot of moving companies. That's a lot of movers, like you said, and like one thing I used to preach, I used to make sure I hired people, and I made sure that people understood, listen, when you walk into these people's homes, treat they shit like you would treat your own. And for the most part, I had people like that. And even if I had people that I felt didn't have that moral compass or those ethics, I made sure that they were on a truck with one or two people that did. And those one or two people were the leader of the crew. So every leader of each one of my trucks was like me being on the truck. Not 100%, because no one's ever going to run your business like you, but I would make sure that I would never have a truck full of goofies, right? If it's a goofy on the truck, then he on the truck with two killers. I've had guys that did some dumb shit, and listen, I had a guy, Dre, and me and Dre, we don't see eye and eye today, right? And Dre was one of those guys, and this is a true story. Listen, he was on the truck with two other guys. He was the head of the truck, right? Dude did some goofy shit. They was carrying the couch in a tight gangway. The one guy bumped into the meter, and he knocked the glass globe off the meter, and they got into a disagreement. I don't know. I can't remember if the meter was broke or it popped out or whatever happened, but I remember the globe came on. Something happened where that person went against and was insubordinate to who I had on the truck as the team leader. The team leader is a reflection of me, and for the most part, he was probably out of everybody I had over the years, he probably was the closest to me as far as percentage-wise of running my business like it was me. He was probably the closest to it to me, more even so than my own brother. And I'm keeping it a buck. Now, you know I'm not lying because I'm telling you, more so than my own fucking brother, right? Dude didn't want to follow directions. They still had more moves to do today. He told dude, you ain't getting your ass back on this truck. Find your ass back to the yard or find your ass home. Me and the other person that was on the truck was a 3-man truck, right? So all they jobs was 3-man jobs. He said, man, find your way home. You ain't getting back on this truck. He didn't let him back on the truck. Them the type of people that you want to have as team leads, that when people don't do what's best for the company, they not going to even want to be on the truck with them. They're willing to work harder because they're gonna have one less guy than to continue to let somebody be on the truck that's making the company look bad by knocking globes off and not paying attention. That was an accident that could have been prevented, right? Because they looking at it like, listen, we movers. We get paid a good hourly wage, but we also make a lot of money off tips. Something like that happened. We averaging $50 to $100 a piece on every job on tips. Now we probably ain't gonna get no tip. You fucking our money up. Man, take your ass home. Find your ass. He wouldn't let him back on the truck. Call the office like, hey, Mark, dude ass ain't getting back on the truck. He explained what he did. He's leading the truck. You know what I didn't do? I didn't step on his toes. If you willing to do, I look at it like this. If this person is willing, him and the other person are willing to work harder for the next 2 moves because they're short one less person, then clearly dude is a fuck up. So I'm not going to step on his toes. I'm going to trust his best judgment as the leader on that truck. And this is why he was a leader on his truck. And this is why he's with me from 2012, 2013, all the way to 2022 when I walked away. So, and it's rare to find people like that. A person like that would just cuss him out and still let him be on the truck because he don't want to pick up the weight of the one less man. Nah, bro, you ain't getting your ass back on this truck. I'm gonna call Mark. Hey, Mark, dude I ain't landing back on this truck. He can find his way home. I'll drop him off at the red line or the blue line, whatever the net, but he ain't getting his ass back on this truck. But y'all gonna be short, Dre, man. Fuck all that, man. We'll do the next 2 jobs, just me and KT. Fuck it, we'll get it done. Fuck it. He ain't getting his, he fucking up the money. All right, let him get however he want to get home. You want me to drop him off at the red line? I'll drop him off the red line. But he ain't getting his ass back on this truck. And when I say killers, that's a killer. That's the type of people you want working for you. And that's a real story. That's a real story. So, yeah, so you just got to know how to shift workers around. You can't have 3 goofies on the truck. You got to have one person that people going to listen to, a person that people going to fear, you know, and that all depends on your market and the type of people you got working. And I've explained this as far as my market. I've talked about this shit in the past of how, you know, working for me, like even the workers say, like working for death row. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, different strokes for different folks. Certain things are going to work certain ways for certain people in certain markets. So, all right, y'all. I didn't talk. Appreciate y'all. I'm finna go to the gym. All right, man. I might do a live stream later. Until then.